First of all, what is a verb? Well, come on, you know what a verb is. Verbs are words like eat, walk, and sleep. But what about words like am or is? Well, yes, those are verbs too. Verbs are action words. They tell you what action the subject of the sentence is doing. So yes, am and is are verbs because they denote a state of being. Like, I am here, or the soup is salty. One of the reasons why SAT test makers love verb errors so much is that there are more ways a verb can go wrong than Lindsay Lohan's career. And that is a lot of ways. But of all the verb errors out there are really only 3 types of verb errors. And we're going to go over all of them right now. The sentence reads, delivery of today's newspapers and magazines have been delayed. So what's the problem here? It's a subject-verb agreement error. When you read it out loud, it doesn't sound that bad, does it? In fact, when people like you and I are just talking, we say stuff like this all the time. And so does everyone, your English teacher, Anderson Cooper, and your future college professors. So yes, this is a hard error to pick up on, because it sounds so good. So it's a good thing you're getting tipped off on it right now. So let's go over the sentence. Step 1 is to find the verb. So what do you think the verb is here? That's easy, right? The verb here is the word have. You might be thinking to yourself, have is a plural verb. If that's what crosses your mind first, then great. Now, step 2, let's find the subject of this sentence. I'll give you a moment to ponder this quietly. The subject is delivery. And the second part of step 2 is to make sure the verb matches the subject. Okay, so write that step down. I bet some of you thought the subject would be newspapers and magazines. But be careful now. The words of today's newspaper and magazines is actually a prepositional phrase. Prepositional what now? Prepositional phrases describe the subject, but they are not the subject. For example, in the sentence, the prepositional phrase tells you what kind of delivery it is, but the actual subject is still the delivery. These prepositional phrases are pesky little things like cobwebs and flies, and 80% of the time they are there just to confuse you. So please, do yourself a favor and cross off prepositional phrases when you see them. Cross them off just like you see it on the screen. Okay, and now we get to the crux of the issue, because now the sentence reads, delivery have been delayed. And now everybody, your mom, your dad, even your 3-year-old sister, knows that this is an incorrect sentence. And that's because delivery is a singular subject. So we have an error here. The verb is plural, but the subject is singular. So how do we write this wrong? Well, here are the solutions, and you should be copying these down. Either you change the verb to a singular has in order to match the subject. That sentence would read, delivery of today's newspapers and magazines has been delayed. Or alternatively, you can change the subject to be plural in order to match the verb. And that would be the second sentence on the screen, which reads, deliveries of today's newspapers and magazines have been delayed. So you see, either both verb and subject have to be singular or both have to be plural. Either way you go, the two have to agree. But you can also see from this sample sentence, sometimes the hardest part of identifying these verb errors is finding the actual subject. Do not let prepositional phrases confuse you. Okay, so moving right along, we're going to work on our second type of verb error now. Let's take a look at this sentence. It says, when I finally arrived at the doctor's office, the swelling has already gone down. Do you see anything wrong with this sentence? Well, I'll tell you. This is a verb tense error. What is a verb tense error, you ask? Let's see. Did you notice that the first verb in the sentence is arrived, as in past tense, as in I've already arrived? But then, oddly, the second verb is has, which, oh my God, is present tense. So the tenses don't match. And that is just like a whole bunch of drama because that is not okay. Until the day time travel is invented and you can conceivably arrive at the doctor's office in the past and then suddenly jump to the present where you're still in the doctor's office, still with a swollen body part. Well, until that day comes and we finally change the grammar rules, this sentence can never be correct. So to correct the sentence, we must change both verbs to past tense. The sentence would look like this. When I finally arrived at the doctor's office, the swelling had already gone down. Okay, perfect. Both in past tense now, and it all makes sense without needing time travel. Okay, so we're going to move along and finish off verb errors strong with the third and last type of verb error. Let's read this sentence. Tom likes traveling because it clears his mind, keeps him active, and to explore new places. Well, Tom sounds like an awesome guy, but what's wrong with this sentence? Kind of like Bill Clinton under oath, you just know there's something wrong here. This sentence is an example of verb form error. We can see that the first two verbs in the comma series are in the present form. But the last verb is in what we call the infinitive form. Now don't you worry about these fancy terms. You don't need to know those. But what you do need to be able to do is see that one of these verbs don't belong. This type of error happens when you see sentences with lists of items, but the items in the list don't match each other in form. Remember, we always want to maintain parallel structure in sentences. Whenever you have a list in a sentence, we want every item in the list to be in the same form. On the screen, we see the correct sentence. It reads, Tom likes traveling because it clears his mind, keeps him active, and allows him to explore new places. Great, so now all the verbs are in the same form. They're all in the present form. All right, kids, so we just pummeled through the types of verb errors. You're going to see these same 3 verb errors rehashed and repackaged multiple times on every single SAT. So I hope you were able to take a long, hard look at the enemy, because you're going to see them again and again in different disguises. You have 45 seconds for this first question. All right, time to go over the answer. So my first step is to identify the verb, right? Well, what's the verb? The word is the verb. And like we covered earlier, is a verb. Now the second step is to find the subject. So where's the subject? This here can be a little bit tricky. Did you think the subject was people? I can see why you would think that, but nope, it is not people. You see, people are the ones who give the reasons, but it's actually the reasons that are the true subjects. Let's think about it. The reasons are what's being given. The reasons are people having demanding assignments and not having enough time. Therefore, reasons is a true subject here. Now here's where it gets all exciting, because reasons is obviously plural. That's what the little s at the end of the sentence means. But you knew that, duh. And that's why there's so much drama, because is singular. Oh my God! You can't have a plural subject in a singular verb. So obviously, we're going to have to change one of them. The verb is part of the underlined portion of the sentence. So we're going to have to change it into something plural like are. Looking at the answer choices, right off the bat, I want to cross off A and D because those answer choices start with the word is. Out of the remaining answer choices, answer choice C is the correct answer. And this is because answer choice C corrects the verb error and it maintains the parallel sentence structure. Okay, let me show you what I mean. Answer choice C reads, the main reasons people give for not spending time with family are that they have demanding assignments and that they don't have enough time. You see how that sentence really has a list with 2 items in it? The 2 items being that they have demanding assignments at work and that they don't have enough time. And now answer choice C corrects the sentence so the 2 items in the list have parallel structure. That means they both start with that they. Conversely, however, answer choice B and E suffer from a lack of parallel structure, and there is no cure for that. Now let's take a look at another practice problem. I'll give you another 45 seconds. Time's up. The question reads, also supported by the board of the company was the proposal for extended vacation time and the request to distribute information on job training opportunities. So what's my first step here? Well, it's to identify the verb. The verb is was. But what does the verb refer to? What's the subject here? Is it the board of the company? Is it the proposal? Well, yes, both. Was refers to the proposal and the request. And that's why we have a problem here. The proposal and the request makes it a plural subject. Therefore, we need the word were. And that's why answer choice B is the correct answer. Alright team, so that's it now for verb errors. And that wasn't so bad, was it? We'll cover all verb errors more in depth in our live focus workshop